Welcome to the deep dive. We're plunging into some fascinating sources today, really getting under the surface. Our journey takes us back, way back, to a really pivotal year, 1945. Now, this wasn't just the year a huge global war ended. It was also the stage for a remarkable, but maybe often overlooked, triumph in American sports. We're here to unpack the incredible story of the Cleveland Buckeyes. This was a team whose championship season was so much more than just winning games.
Exactly. It was far, far more than just a victory on the diamond.
Our mission today, really, is to understand how this one triumph, this championship, carried such profound societal implications, for the African American community and, well, for American society overall. Just picture the backdrop. World War II is finally winding down. The whole landscape of professional baseball is standing right on the edge, the cusp of desegregation.
A monumental shift.
Absolutely. It was going to reshape the nation, but also change the lives of just countless individuals and whole communities.
And to help us navigate this really fascinating, deeply significant time, we've got an incredibly comprehensive source. It's the 1945 Cleveland Buckeyes-ebook.pdf from the Society for American Baseball Research. You probably know them as SABR. This deep dive, it's really going to peel back the layers. We'll get into the intricate details of their season, sure, but also the surprising connections, things often overlooked, that make the Buckeye story so incredibly rich.
And resilient.
Right. And relevant even now. It's a story that just beautifully weaves together sports, civil rights, and the very spirit of a nation, really, at a crossroads.
Okay, so let's try and transport ourselves. Imagine Cleveland, 1945. The war's roar is fading out, replaced by this maybe cautious whisper of hope, especially within the African American community. And a big part of that hope, that sort of budding optimism, it was fueled by these powerful campaigns. Maybe none more iconic than the Double V for Victory. Can you paint that picture? What did Cleveland feel like for Black residents then?
That's such a vital question because, well, context is everything here. Cleveland in 45, it was a city just bursting with wartime industry. It was attracting new people, including a really substantial influx of African Americans coming up from the south part of the Great Migration. And for Black Clevelanders, there was this deeply felt, but cautious optimism. The Double V for Victory campaign, launched by the Pittsburgh Courier, a really influential Black newspaper, it was more than just a slogan. It was a potent rallying cry. It really ignited a sense of purpose. The idea, simple but profound, achieve victory against fascism abroad and achieve victory against racial discrimination right here at home.
Double V makes sense.
Exactly. This wasn't just patriotism. It was a strategically framed demand for justice. And it planted these crucial seeds for what would grow into the modern civil rights movement. And, on the political front, there had been some steps forward. Tangible, maybe, but fragile. Think about President Roosevelt's Fair Employment Practices Committee, the FEPC.
Right, established by executive order in 41.
Correct. And that was a direct response to A. Philip Randolph's planned march on Washington. He was threatening this massive protest against racial discrimination in the defense industry, during wartime. So the FEPC, it represented the very first federal commitment to civil rights since Reconstruction. A truly groundbreaking moment, even if it was limited.
And it was temporary, right? It expired with the war.
It did. But while it lasted, it made a real impact. For the first time, it opened doors, industrial jobs, retail jobs for African Americans, places they'd been shut out of before. Plus, you had the new union movement, particularly the CIO, the Committee for Industrial Organization. They were actively welcoming African American members, which is a huge contrast to the older, often exclusionary craft unions.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah, and this fostered real hopes that the awful last hired, first fired policies, which always hit Black workers hardest, might finally end. So look, the racial barriers were still immense, obviously, but it felt like a time when the tide was maybe, just maybe, starting to turn, slowly.
It is fascinating, though, isn't it? Almost a paradox. In an era still so rigidly defined by segregation, the very constraints of that system, while absolutely oppressive, they seem to paradoxically push the African American community to build this incredibly strong, self-sufficient institutional life.
You've really hit on a critical point there. Segregation, in its awful way, it forced Black communities to develop these powerful, parallel institutions just to survive and to thrive. The church, for instance, probably the most vital institution. Established Black Clevelanders often found community in big, influential congregations like Antioch Baptist or Cordy United Methodist. But for the newer migrants, often poorer, who were swelling the city's Black population, storefront churches popped up everywhere. They were essential spiritual anchors, social safety nets, community hubs.
More than just Sunday service.
Oh, much more. And it wasn't just churches, barbershops. They were crucial social centers,
Mm.
places to get news, share gossip, build solidarity, and people supported each other economically, buying insurance from Black-owned companies, making sure resources stayed within the community. And then you had powerful organizations like the Future Outlook League, led by the dynamic John O'Hawley. They were actively fighting for economic opportunity.
How so?
They launched these famous "Don't Shop Where You Can't Work" campaigns, and they were incredibly effective. They pressured white-owned businesses to actually hire Black residents in jobs they'd always been denied. Real tangible gains. And right at the heart of it all was this thriving Black downtown hub, especially vibrant around East 55th Street, anchored by places like the House of Wills, a funeral home, but also a vital community gathering spot. And the jazz clubs, the juke joints, just pulsing with life and music. Packed constantly, places to unwind, find joy, despite everything outside.
A real center of gravity.
Absolutely. And through it all, the Cleveland Post, the Black newspaper edited by William O. Walker, played this indispensable role, publicizing community events, amplifying Black voices, acting as this powerful unifying force. These institutions, they weren't just separate, they were the absolute backbone of resilience, of self-determination, of a vibrant community identity.
That context, particularly the self-sufficiency, it really makes Cleveland's position seem unique compared to other big cities back then. I mean, Cleveland didn't have those devastating race riots like East St. Louis in 17 or Chicago 19, Detroit and New York in 43.
Right.
Nor the widespread hate strikes, white workers protesting Black hiring that you saw elsewhere. What was different about Cleveland?
It's a really striking contrast, and an important one. Cleveland did pride itself to a degree on fostering multiculturalism, intergroup understanding. You saw symbols of it, like the Cleveland Cultural Gardens celebrating different ethnic groups. Although it's telling, right, that at the time, there wasn't an African-American garden among them. Shows progress was, well...
imperfect.
Incremental. Exactly. Incremental. But the city hosted the Anisfeld Wolf Book Awards, honoring literature, promoting racial understanding, pretty forward-thinking for the era. And the City Club of Cleveland, it was known for inviting diverse speakers, encouraging dialogue. Cleveland was actually one of the very first American cities to set up a Human Relations Council, a significant step toward addressing tensions proactively in a turbulent time.
So against that backdrop.
Yeah, so when the Buckeyes won the World Series in '45, it became much more than just a sports victory. It was this incredibly fitting symbol for a city that had just hit its peak population, 900,000 people. A city celebrating achievements on the field that kind of mirrored the victories on the battlefield after years of war. It represented this collective pride, this sense of possibility, a beacon of hope, really, in a world still grappling with huge inequalities.
All of this just hammers home the point. The Negro Leagues were so much more than just sports teams. They were vital institutions, deeply woven into the Black community's fabric.
Precisely. Teams like the Buckeyes, they weren't just showcasing incredible athletic skill, they were powerful economic engines, critical social spaces in the Jim Crow era. Think about it. They provided essential jobs. Players, coaches, staff, when dignified, decent-paying work for African Americans was incredibly limited by systemic racism.
Right.
And beyond that, they created these safe, proud spaces, places where African Americans could gather with dignity, share a collective identity, celebrate their own excellence. League games weren't just games, they were major social events. They drew big crowds, and often, surprisingly maybe, crowds that crossed racial lines.
White fans attended.
They did. Often in segregated sections, yes, but their presence alone challenged segregation norms just by being there, witnessing the undeniable talent on the field. And that success rippled outwards. Local Black businesses, restaurants, hotels, transporters, they thrived on game days, benefited directly from the team and the fans. This whole ecosystem, it helped establish Cleveland as a major center for Black baseball. It bolstered its reputation as a relatively progressive northern destination during the Great Migration, attracted more Black families seeking opportunity, a better life than the Deep South offered.
And there's a tragic backstory too, right? Before the triumph of 45.
Yeah, to fully appreciate the 45 win, you have to understand where they came from. Their story really starts with profound loss. Back in 1942, a terrible car accident killed 2 players, seriously injured 4 others.
Horrific.
Devastating. It nearly derailed the team before it truly got going. And this happened against the backdrop of World War II, when so many Negro League teams were struggling anyway. Players in the military, wartime travel restrictions hitting hard.
Made everything difficult.
Incredibly difficult. So the Buckeyes 45 championship isn't just about athletic skill. It's this amazing story of resilience, rising from personal tragedy and the huge systemic challenges of wartime, It makes the win even more meaningful.
Resilience is definitely the word.
Yeah.
So against that tough backdrop, how did they actually build this championship team? Sounds like it was a pretty unique partnership at the core. Wilbur Hayes, a white Cleveland sports promoter, and Ernest Wright, a black businessman from Erie, Pennsylvania. What did each bring to this?
Their collaboration was absolutely key. A real testament to cross-racial business partnership in a deeply divided time. Wilbur Hayes, he had this really impressive, varied background. He was a star amateur athlete himself, basketball, baseball, boxing, football, a genuine all-around sportsman. But more importantly for the Buckeyes, he was known as Cleveland's first entertainment promoter, really catering to the city's black population. He managed all sorts of events, basketball games, beauty pageants, and his dedication to the team was clear. He was the Negro American League Sergeant-at-Arms, deeply committed to the Buckeyes' success, understanding both the business side and the cultural weight.
And Ernest Wright.
Ernest Wright was this highly successful businessman, owned the Pope Hotel in Erie, PA. But he wasn't just a hotel owner. He turned that hotel into a real hotspot for black culture and music, a place where prejudice could maybe be set aside, at least for a while. He brought in legends, Duke Ellington, Louis Armstrong, Pearl Bailey. And what was remarkable, the Pope Hotel had a live MC, a regular band, a female chorus line, and it welcomed both black and white crowds.
In Erie, PA.
Well, yeah. Wright was known for having a heart of gold, often lent money, let players like Sam Jethro stay free if they needed it. He even tried what was called reverse integration, gave a white Sandlot pitcher, Eddie Klepp, a tryout with the Buckeyes. Mostly for publicity, yeah, but still.
A sign of the times, maybe?
Perhaps. Together, Hayes and Wright were this powerful duo. Business smarts combined with a deep understanding of the black community's needs and dreams.
So the team starts as the Cincinnati Cleveland Buckeyes, but by 43, they're Cleveland's permanent home team. That transition happened during a really tough time for sports generally, didn't it? WWII ramping up. How did the Negro Leagues even manage?
It's a great question, and it says so much about their resilience. World War II put sports in a really precarious spot. High school, college, minor league teams, many just suspended operations. Players went into the service. Pro football teams merged just to stay afloat. Even Major League Baseball, which FDR famously called vital for morale in his green light letter.
Right, keep baseball going.
Yeah, but even they face limits. The All-Star game was canceled in 45, travel was heavily restricted, shorter road trips, fewer games. So within that incredibly challenging environment, the fact that the Negro Leagues kept operating, and crucially, that teams like the Buckeyes thrived and ultimately won a championship, it just speaks volumes. It highlights their unique, indispensable role, providing normalcy, pride, entertainment amidst war and segregation. They weren't just surviving, they were providing something vital. Now let's talk players. The man at the helm was Quincy Troupe, the player manager. Big Train, an exceptional catcher switch hitter, later wrote his own book, 20 Years Too Soon. What's his story? How does it reflect that era? Quincy Troupe's story is incredibly compelling and, yeah, it really mirrors the broader African-American experience then. His family background was rooted in slavery. They moved from rural Georgia to St. Louis to escape the brutal Jim Crow South. Before baseball, Troupe was actually an amateur boxing champion. Shows his athleticism, right? He went to Lincoln University and HBCU briefly, but left for baseball. A path with both opportunity and huge challenges. He had this lifelong friendship with the legend Satchel Paige. Even encouraged Paige to play up in North Dakota with him early on. Shows Troupe's influence.
And he made history later himself, didn't he?
He absolutely did. In 1952, at age 40, he became the first African-American catcher in the American League, playing for the Cleveland Indians. And in this amazing historical moment, he formed the first all-African-American battery that's pitcher and catcher in the American League with Sam Toothpick Jones. Groundbreaking. After playing, he kept breaking barriers, became the first African-American scout for the St. Louis Cardinals. Pioneering role opened doors. His whole journey segregated South, Negro Leagues, breaking MLB barriers. It's just a powerful story of perseverance and pure skill.
And then there's Sam the Jet, Jethro, often called the greatest Buckeye, known for that incredible speed. Tell us about his impact in 45.
The Jet. He really earned that nickname. Sam Jethro's 45 stats are just phenomenal. .393 batting average, incredible. 123 total bases, 10 triples, 8 homers, and 21 stolen bases. He was just a blur on the base paths, constant pressure on the defense. It's also interesting, that whole practice back then of fictional baseball ages.
Right, appearing younger.
Yeah, often done to seem more appealing to white scouts, maybe looking for younger talent to integrate eventually. Jethro, despite the later challenges, was undeniably a superstar in his prime with the Buckeyes.
With guys like Troop and Jethro, clearly this wasn't just a couple of stars carrying the team. Who else made this team so special, so dominant?
Oh, absolutely not. It was a whole collective of truly remarkable talents, fascinating people. Take Willie Grace. It's almost a miracle he even played Pro Bowl.
Right.
He survived the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic, which hit black communities disproportionately hard, due to health disparities. Then, in 43, he gets shot in the leg and handed a bar incident. Serious stuff.
Incredible.
Yet despite all that, he comes back, bats .321 in 45, and is named league MVP in 46. And he's remembered for this crazy play in 47 where he streaked for home, stole home twice, and won doubleheader. Just audacious resilience.
Wow. Who else?
Then there's Avelino Canizares, the flashy Cuban sensation. Renowned for sensational fielding, lightning reflexes, strong arm, and clutch hitting. Often compared to guys like Jackie Robinson, Artie Wilson, his spark plug play was legendary. He once scored the winning run in the 13th inning against the Chicago American Giants. There was this whole umpire controversy. Police had to intervene. Gives you a sense of the passion, maybe the chaos sometimes of those games.
Oh.
Yeah. And even though he only hit .200 in the World Series, his overall season speed defense earned him the title Player of the Year. George Jefferson was their ace pitcher, secured his 11th and 17th wins during the World Series, and clutch performer. And he benefited from just sparkling defense behind him. Johnny Cowan, the shortstop, had 5 incredible fielding plays in Game 3 alone. Threw a guy out from his knees, made this leaping snare. Commissioner Happy Chandler was there and supposedly said, "That was the best play I've ever seen in my life."
High praise.
Highest praise. Cowan himself was called the season's find of the rookie crop. Part of an infield judge, the best all-around inner defense in Negro baseball. Shows their depth, right? Not just stars. Archie Ware, Mr. First. Team captain, filled in as manager sometimes. Great leader, his fielding was highly regarded. Finished second to the great Buck O'Neil in East-West All-Star voting. Huge respect from peers. Parnell Woods was another key figure, a gentleman manager. Team captain in 45, after being classified 1A for military service, but then rejected by the draft board. Roosevelt Duro Davis pitched only 5 games in 45, came mid-season, but regarded as second only to Satchel Paige in Negro pitching circles, known for using the spitball, cutball, emery ball, keeping hitters totally off balance. His later life, though, working as a waiter at the Palmer House Hotel, it just highlights the tough realities many players faced after baseball, especially as the Negro Leagues declined.
A stark contrast.
Yeah. And then there's George Pruvin's brief stint in 45, had a really difficult personal life, manslaughter conviction in 44, a later shooting incident. Just underlines the tough circumstances many navigated. Yet he stayed devoted to baseball his whole life. Managed teams, got named to 2 local Ohio sports halls of fame. Shows that enduring passion despite everything. These stories together, they paint this rich picture. Resilience, talent, complex human lives wrapped up in the game.
With all that talent, it's really no surprise the Buckeyes dominated the 45 season leading up to the series. Seems like they were destined for something special.
They absolutely were. And people saw it coming. Wendell Smith, the sports editor at the Pittsburgh Courier, really sharp observer, he picked Cleveland to win the pennant. Called them the American League's most balanced team. Even said, on paper, Cleveland has the best team in the Western Circuit.
And they backed it up.
Spectacularly. Their regular season was just dominant. Won both halves of the Negro American League split season. Finished 72-30 overall, something like 53-15 in league play. Just incredible. And acquiring Duro Davis mid-season from Indianapolis just strengthened their already strong pitching. They were a force playing at a championship level all year long.
And they played in some legendary spots, Historic League Park and the then new massive Cleveland Municipal Stadium. Must have been different experiences for fans.
Oh, completely different vibes, embodying different eras. League Park was this charming old wooden structure from 1891, famous for its quirky asymmetrical outfield, really short right field fence, only 290 feet. Led to lots of drama, short porch homers, weird bounce.
Steeped in history.
Totally. Cy Young debut there. Bill Wamsgantz's unassisted triple play in the 1920 World Series, still the only one. Joe DiMaggio's 56-game hit streak ended there in 41.
Yeah.
Just an intimate, storied park where history echoed. Then you had Cleveland Municipal Stadium, massive concrete and steel behemoth, held over 70,000. Felt grand, modern, almost impersonal compared to League Park's intimacy. It hosted the Buckeyes' first regular season game in 45, drew a good crowd, over 12,000, strong showing for a Negro League game then, and it hosted Game 1 of the World Series.
And League Park closed soon after.
Yeah, League Park closed in 46. The Indians moved to Municipal Stadium full-time. Municipal then hosted the Browns championships. The Indians' attendance record in 48 became the city's major sports venue, so the Buckeyes played in both the intimate old park and the grand new stage. Made history in both.
All right, let's set the scene. The 1945 Negro League World Series. You've got the Cleveland Buckeyes, the Cinderella team we've been discussing,
Right, determination, youth.
against the formidable Homestead Grays. A dynasty. 5 future Hall of Famers. Buck Leonard, Cool Papa Bell, Judd Wilson, Ray Brown, the legendary Josh Gibson. Winners of the last 2 series. Sounds like a real uphill battle for Cleveland, David versus Goliath almost.
It absolutely looked that way on paper, and that was the public perception. As Quincy Troup wrote in his book, no one thought that we had much of a chance. But the Buckeyes, they weren't intimidated. They had a clear strategy crafted by Troup. He knew they weren't a power-hitting team like the Grays, who relied on the long ball. So instead, they embraced what Rube Foster called small ball, excelling at hit and runs, mastering the sacrifice bunt, moving runners precisely. And they were incredibly aggressive, successful stealing bases.
Yeah.
Constant pressure.
Smart baseball.
Exactly. That precision plus their strong, consistent pitching, it was crucial all season, and especially against the Grays' powerhouse. It was really a victory of strategy and execution over just sheer star power.
Okay, let's walk through this unexpected sweep, game by game. Feel the tension, the belief building as the Buckeyes just kept winning.
Let's do it. It's a remarkable story. Game 1, September 13th, Cleveland Municipal Stadium. Buckeyes win a nail-biter, 2-1. Willie Jefferson, the Buckeyes ace, was just dominant. Retired the first 9 Grays batters in order, showcased his control. He faced the Grays ace, Roy Wellmaker. Wellmaker pitched well too, kept it tight. But bottom of the 9th, score tied, Grays threatening, runners on the corners.
Pressure cooker?
Huge pressure. But the Buckeyes defense came through. After an earlier single by Johnny Cowan, Avelino Candizarz starts this perfect 6-4-3 double play. Shortstop to second to first, kills the rally, preserves the 2-1 win. Huge statement.
Wow. Okay, game 2.
Game 2, September 16th. Back at League Park, Buckeyes win again 4-2. Building momentum. Eugene Bremer pitched for Cleveland against Johnny Wright, who, interestingly, was about to sign with the Dodgers, play with Jackie Robinson in Montreal. Grays took a 2-1 lead early. Cool Papa Bell even scored on a balk of that illegal pitcher motion. But Bremer, he wasn't just pitching. He drove in the winning run himself with a double and got the win on the mound. Showed their grit, ability to come back.
Yeah. All right, on to game 3. Now they're in D.C.
Game 3, September 18th. Griffith Stadium, Washington, D.C., Grays' home turf. Buckeyes continue this astonishing run with a masterful 4-0 shutout. George Jefferson pitched a brilliant 3-hitter, just stifled that powerful Grays lineup. Willie Gray sacrificed home the first run, that small ball efficiency again. Buddy Armour hit a crucial bases-loaded single to break it open. And this was the game Commissioner Happy Chandler was at. Saw Cowan's incredible defense, made that famous remark. Buckeyes were just playing lights out, unfazed by the pressure, the crowd, on the verge.
1 win away from the sweep, game 4.
Game 4, September 20th, Shibe Park, Philadelphia, a neutral site. Buckeyes complete the stunning swoop, commanding 5-0 victory. Fittingly, this game honored GM Wilbur Hayes for his role. Buckeyes started fast, showcasing that small ball again. Candizarz leads off with a single. Archie Ware walks, Sam Jethro singles, bases loaded. Nobody out.
Putting the pressure on immediately.
Right away. Then, a critical error by the Grays' second baseman, Bozo Jackson, lets 2-run score. Opens the floodgates. Willie Gray singles. Jethro hits a 2-run single that seals it. The sweep is complete. Just an incredible performance. Small ball, stellar pitching, collected determination, a dominant, undeniable triumph over the mighty Homestead Grays.
Wow. A 4-game sweep. Against that dynasty, all those Hall of Famers, it really drives home that this World Series was so much bigger than baseball. It was a reflection of this transformative moment, right? When Jim Crow Must Go was really gaining steam. What was the deeper significance in that context?
You're absolutely right. Its significance just explodes beyond the box score. This series wasn't just baseball. It was like a microcosm of a nation on the brink of huge change. And the symbolic importance of who was at Game 3, you can't overstate it. Future baseball commissioner Happy Chandler. Ohio Senator Harold H. Burton, who later, as a Supreme Court justice, was crucial in Brown v. Board of Education.
The school desegregation case.
Exactly. Chandler, especially, was outspoken about integrating baseball, went against many owners. Players like Don Newcomb remembered him as someone who cared when it wasn't fashionable. Their presence at a Negro League World Series game, given their influence, it powerfully foreshadowed changes on the horizon. It signaled that those seemingly solid walls of segregation in pro sports were starting to crack, mirroring the bigger societal shifts the Double V campaign was pushing for. It felt like black aspirations were being seen on a national stage.
And Wendell Smith, the Pittsburgh Courier editor, really captured that feeling, calling them the Cinderella team, fired by determination and youth, pulling off one of the biggest surprises in baseball history. Speaks to the emotion, right?
Perfectly captured their spirit and the public feeling. Smith contrasted them vividly with the aging Grays creaking in the joints, he said, implying their fatigue. The Grays had just endured this brutal pennant race, had to win 9 games in 6 days just to clinch their league. Testament to their grit, sure, but also their exhaustion.
Wow, grueling.
Grueling. And umpire Harry Walker, an impartial observer, he echoed Smith, said the Buckeyes were not individual stars, but a star team that plays with a lot of teamwork. They're all a nice group of gentlemen. It highlights their victory wasn't just individual brilliance, though they had that, but this cohesive, disciplined, collective effort, teamwork, youthful energy. Something the Grays, despite their legends, just couldn't match in 45. It was a triumph of the collective, of strategy over power. And that resonated deeply with the community-seeking symbols of collective progress.
And this leads us to a really bittersweet point. While the Buckeyes' win symbolized so much hope, progress, that Jim Crow must go feeling, the coming integration of Major League Baseball would paradoxically lead to the decline, the end, really, of the very Negro Leagues that fostered all this excellence and community pride. It's complex, isn't it?
It's a profound irony. It really challenges the simple narrative of progress. We celebrate integration as this unqualified good, and it was a massive civil rights victory, no question. But the Buckeye story forces us to grapple with the complex, often painful costs. Just over a month after their World Series win, Jackie Robinson signs with the Dodgers, a seismic event, and it immediately starts to depreciate, as the source says, the Negro League's talent pool. As the best players get siphoned off to MLB and its minors, the quality of play in the Negro Leagues just inevitably drops.
A brain drain, essentially.
Exactly. By 1949, the decline was so sharp that MLB stopped recognizing Negro League seasons after 48 as Major League caliber, effectively stripping them of that status. So yes, a civil rights breakthrough, but it came at a huge cost to these vibrant Black-owned institutions that were so much more than baseball economic engines, cultural hubs, symbols of Black self-determination.
Sam Jethro's journey as one of those stars really seems to embody this complexity, doesn't it? What was his path like after the championship?
He truly does, maybe more than anyone. Jethro was part of that famous tryout at Fenway Park with Jackie Robinson in 45, which, sadly, was mostly seen as a publicity stunt by the Boston team. And it was marred by a racial slur shouted from somewhere in the park. Shows the racism still deeply ingrained. Despite that awful experience, his talent was undeniable. He made history signing with the Boston Braves in 1950, their first Black Major League player.
A huge moment.
Huge. But his experience in MLB shows the continuing insidious segregation, even in an integrated league. He was forced to stay in separate hotels from white teammates. Didn't have a roommate his entire first year. It wasn't just about baseball. It was Jim Crow following it into his professional life, day after day.
And later financial struggles, too.
Yeah, his story highlights that, too. After his MLB career, he fought for a pension. He had 3 years, 7 days of service time, just short of the 4-year rule then. A class action lawsuit was filed for him, but dismissed. Eventually, though, much later, MLB owners created a special fund in 1997 to provide payments to former Negro League players, acknowledging the historical injustice, the contributions, the sacrifices, belatedly but importantly.
And Jethro himself?
Through it all, his forgiving nature was incredible. He famously said about segregation, you get used to it, and you let it go. Even more remarkably, after his grandson was tragically killed by a drunk driver, Jethro went to court and asked for mercy for the driver. Just an almost unimaginable capacity for forgiveness. His life really shows both the triumphs and the deep tribulations of integration.
That's incredibly moving. What about the other talented Buckeyes after 45? What did their careers look like navigating this changing landscape?
Many faced that shrinking, struggling Negro League world, so they looked elsewhere. Some, like Avelino Cañizares, Willie Jefferson, Chet Brewer, they found spots in the Mexican League, which sometimes offered better pay, a less overtly racist environment. Others, like Troop and Jethro, found success in the vibrant Puerto Rican winter leagues, popular destinations for Black and Latino players seeking year-round play, better conditions.
Did many make it to the white majors eventually?
7 Buckeyes eventually did play in the white major leagues. With varied success, different tenures. Sam Toothpick Jones had the longest, most successful run, 12 years, 2-time All-Star. Others included Al Smith, Dave Hoskins, Vibert Clark, Joe Caffey. But for many, the story was tougher, more poignant, reflecting the precarious nature of a baseball career for Black athletes then. Take Earl Ashby. Became a baseball vagabond, bounced around different leagues, struggled with temper issues, had an arrest, even got involved as a witness in an unsolved murder.
Rough path.
Yeah. These stories underline the complex challenges many faced, even after reaching the pinnacle of a championship. The glory of 45 didn't always translate to security or fame later on. And this integration, this crucial civil rights win, it had another unforeseen, deep impact. It unintentionally helped erode black-owned businesses and institutions. Ernest Wright's Pope Hotel, that vibrant hub we talked about, it's a prime example. As Negro League attendance just plummeted after stars like Larry Doby and Satchel Paige joined the Cleveland Indians and other MLB teams.
The fan base shifted.
Exactly. The very institutions that had sustained black communities, provided economic opportunity, fostered cultural pride, they began to struggle. Many withered away. It highlights the profound, sometimes painful, hidden costs of progress. Reminds us that advancements can inadvertently dismantle things that were resilient and community-built.
Which makes documenting and preserving this whole crucial, nuanced history even more vital. It's not just celebrating wins, it's understanding the full picture, right?
It truly does. And there are dedicated efforts ongoing, piecing together these fragmented records because so much wasn't properly documented or valued by mainstream history back then. Organizations like CBR, the Society for American Baseball Research, they're doing incredible work through their Negro Leagues committee, meticulously researching stats, team histories, personal stories. And individuals like Evelyn R. Gregory at Simmons College of Kentucky's Black Film Institute created a powerful documentary specifically on the Buckeyes, ensuring these stories aren't lost, bringing them to new eyes.
What does that research involve?
Oh, it's painstaking. Extensive archival work. In-depth interviews with surviving family members who hold these memories, meticulously going through old newspapers, black press, white press, community newsletters, other forgotten documents. This work uncovers so much rich detail, previously unknown stuff about these athletes' lives, on and off the field, their deep connections to their communities. And these projects, they serve multiple crucial purposes. They preserve vital American history. They celebrate African-American achievement. And maybe most importantly, they illuminate that nuanced, complex relationship between racial progress and the institutions that sustained black communities through decades of incredibly difficult segregation. It's a collective act of remembering, honoring. Hashtag outro.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, it's just crystal clear that the Cleveland Buckeyes 1945 championship is so much more than just a sports win. It really stands as this powerful testament to perseverance, to community solidarity, to the indomitable spirit of people forging their own path, creating their own excellence in a segregated world. Their story isn't just about a team winning. It's like a microcosm of American progress itself. You know, messy, complex, often demanding we acknowledge what was lost, even while we celebrate what was gained.
Indeed. Their journey, tragedy to triumph, it's a compelling story. But it's also this powerful reminder that progress, especially racial progress, it often comes at a cost. While we rightly celebrate breakthroughs like baseball's desegregation, we just can't overshadow or forget the vibrant, indispensable institutions, the Negro Leagues, the black-owned businesses supporting them, that sustained and uplifted black communities through decades of systemic segregation. Their story remains this profound source of inspiration, pushes us to look deeper at history's complexities, right? To appreciate the full, multifaceted tapestry of our past.
So, reflecting on all this, what stands out to you? How can one championship win echo so far beyond the field, changing not just a team's fate, but the very fabric of society, shaping its future in ways both celebrated and, yeah, bittersweet? We really encourage you to continue your own exploration of these important historical connections and the enduring lessons they still offer us today.